does the VO industry becoming more competitive concern you, meaning you may book less? That's just the reality of the game.
Yeah, no.
Being an actor in general, being an artist, being freelance in general, whether or not you're an actor, this is a competitive world that we're living in, and it's a good thing in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
I think especially in the wake of the last several years where we were talking about like the BLM movement, where we're seeing more and more people being cast from the LGBTQ plus community in a very vocal and out sort of way, seeing more representation of the non-binary group of folks being cast in both non-binary and binary roles, and hearing more and more about this is incredibly valuable.
Hmm.
And I want to see more of that. Not to mention just specifically new actors. It's a good thing. And I think a lot of us, especially in the beginning of our journeys or whatever, at the beginning of our lives and careers, we have this idea that the work is finite.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, there's more and more work to be had every
Every
year.
year. Every
Yeah.
year there are more and more shows being produced, maybe or maybe not in necessarily dubbing, but just in general, there's so much out there, and there will continue to be, especially just because anime is profitable. It makes a lot of money.
Yeah, which wasn't always the case, but it's definitely making a lot of money now.
It's making more and more money every year.
Yeah.
It's becoming more and more popular every year with the regular folks, not just nerds and geeks anymore, not just like the kids off in on in high school who have like 5 or 6 friends. It's grown into this thing that's become more communally accepted.
Right.
Um, we're much less of the outcast and much more of pushed into the forefront. The fact that we've had so many um, anime movies become blockbusters just in the last couple of years is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely
beaten
a
out
sign
so
of
many of those, yeah,
right.
mainstream cinema stuff.
Right. Uh
And yeah.
Sorry, I wanted to address something else because I got a text message like an hour ago and completely
Oh,
missed it, but I
uh-oh.
missed something on the vocal stress protections that we have in the new Netflix contract. Not only
Yeah.
is it a 2-hour limit, but it's also a 125% session fee. So you get
Oh,
paid a
right.
little bit more on that
For those
for those
more
vocally stressful sessions as well.
so there is that.
Yeah.
That is an excellent thing to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Completely forgot
it's
about that improvement.
so all of
Sorry.
these people, all of these executives out there, or these investors out there are seeing that the return on investment, specifically like for anime and stuff, is huge. It's insane, and especially because we produce it on such a tiny, tiny budget most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is not a reality at this point that I'm seeing moving forward where there won't just continue to be more dubbing.
Yeah, no, it's the industry's going to keep on growing at least for a while.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah, and
so
like you said, even like
mhm,
when the dubbing industry reaches its critical mass or whatever, there's still going to be more work in other mediums. Like there's
mhm.
always more work.
Video
So,
games are growing and growing and growing, and Western style animation is growing and growing and growing.
yeah.
Well, I mean, uh, we won't even get into stuff that's been going on with like HBO
Oh,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Uh
But in general,
but yeah, well, and yeah, so that basically like while voiceover is more competitive than it's ever been, and there's like because there's more and more people who want to do it,
mhm,
there's also more jobs than there have ever been
yeah.
available. So,
So so
yeah.
and I mean just the name of the game, the reality of the situation is no one is guaranteed to work, and no one is guaranteed, and even if you do work, there's nobody's guaranteed to suddenly shoot off like a
Right.
rocket, become successful or famous or what have you. That's just the name of being
Yeah.
an artist and a freelance worker. it is a risk that we're all taking. And just because someone is working today does not necessarily mean that in 2 years they will continue to work. That it's something that we all deal with. And
Hmm.
it would be incredibly entitled of me to believe that I should keep other people out of this industry specifically for my own sake when
Yeah,
I was
that's
when I
really
had the privilege of entering in the first place.